Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain an American sci-fi film from 2025, titled Avatar: Fire and Ash. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. The film opens with Lo-Ak reliving a memory of flying across the sky on their Ikrans with his late brother, Neytiri. After the flight, the brothers talk, and Lo-Ak admits that he still blames himself for Neytiri's death because of his actions during the battle. Neytiri reassures him that it is over, and Lo-Ak then returns to the present. On the shore, Kiri and Spider appear to be developing a connection that goes beyond friendship. Neytiri continues to mourn the loss of her son, immersing herself in traditional Gnostic practices to cope with her grief, while Jake leads his children on a mission to recover guns from sunken ships. The Metkayina strongly oppose the idea of using firearms against the RDA, putting Jake at odds with Tanawari and Ronald. Tanawari suggests that Jake reclaim his role as Torek Makto, but Jake refuses, believing that riding the Torek would turn him into someone he no longer wishes to be. Meanwhile, the RDA search through wreckage to recover usable equipment, and it is revealed that Scoresby survived the previous attack and now uses a prosthetic arm. General Ardmore has lost confidence in Quaritch, who remains consumed by his desire for revenge against Jake. Back on the sea, Neytiri's grief deepens into hatred toward humans after losing her home and her family. Aware of what she is enduring, Jake tries to comfort her and embraces her. Elsewhere, Lo-Ak, Kiri, and Spider join Syria, Aonung, and Ratso in swimming with Payakan, who remains an outcast among the Tulkun for resorting to violence. Later that night, the family is jolted awake when Spider's oxygen mask begins to run out, but it is replaced in time. The following day, the Metkayina are visited by the Wind Trader clan, and Jake informs his children and Spider that he and Neytiri have decided Spider should go with the Wind Traders to live somewhere he can breathe more easily. The children protest, and Spider tearfully begs Jake to reconsider, but Neytiri bluntly tells him that he will never be part of their family. Following the protests, Jake arranges with the Wind Trader leader, Palak, for the family to accompany the traders while escorting Spider to his new home, on the condition that Neytiri provide protection from the skies. The Sully family travels with the Wind Traders aboard their airships, which soon come under attack by the Manguan, a ruthless, fire-wielding Gnostic tribe led by their brutal leader, Varang. A fierce aerial battle breaks out as the Manguan shoot several riders from the sky, while the Sullis fight back using their own weapons. Kiri manages to get Lo-Ak, Spider, and Tuck onto an Ikran, while Neytiri is knocked into the forest by Varang. The children also crash land in the forest, where they witness Varang and other Manguan warriors using their curatales to connect to other Gnostics, overpower them, and then sever their kurus. The children are pursued but manage to kill several Manguan before escaping to a river. After reaching land and continuing to flee, Spider's oxygen supply begins to fail and eventually runs out completely. In desperation, Kiri connects her kuru to the earth and instructs Lo-Ak to place Spider there. Mycelium spreads over Spider's body, and after some time, Lo-Ak pulls Kiri away, believing Spider has died. Moments later, Spider begins to move and breathe, no longer requiring a mask to survive in Gnostic's air. They are soon discovered by Varang and the Manguan, who notice Spider's transformation before capturing the children. When Kiri declares that Spider's survival is the will of Iwa, Varang coldly responds that Iwa holds no power in their territory. Elsewhere, while looking for his children, Jake is captured by Quaritch and Wainfleet. However, they form an uneasy alliance after learning that the children have been taken and that Spider is in danger. Quaritch reluctantly frees Jake, and together they confront the Manguan, only to be overwhelmed and captured. At Varang's insistence, Quaritch demonstrates how firearms work, delighting the Manguan. As the tribe celebrates around a fire and performs a ritual, Kiri once again connects to the earth, causing nearby plant life to fire toxic quills at the Manguan guards. This creates an opportunity for everyone to escape. However, when Varang discovered they are gone, she decides not to go after them. Meanwhile, a wounded Neytiri is reunited with her family and rushed to a medical tent for treatment. She later awakens with Emoat and others at her side, deeply worried about her children. Back at the forest, Jake and Quaritch postpone killing each other until the children are safely recovered. Back at the forest, Jake urges Quaritch to see the world differently now that he is Nausix, though he knows Quaritch will never truly perceive life as the Nausix do. Quaritch and Wainfleet return to the RDA base to report to Ardmore and Parker, who remains determined to colonize Pandora and believes Spider's newfound ability to breathe Nausix air could advance that goal. Norm and Max examine Spider and discover that he has developed his own Kuru at the back of his head. Meanwhile, Kiri attempts to reconnect with Iwa but finds herself blocked. When she tells her family, Emoat advises Jake and Neytiri to reveal the truth about Kiri's origins. She has no biological father and is a clone of Grace Augustine's avatar, not her daughter. Kiri is warned that attempting to connect to Iwa again could be fatal. In private, Jake and Neytiri speak, and Neytiri suggests that Spider should be killed, fearing the RDA could exploit his condition to further their colonization efforts. Meanwhile, Scoresby and his crew continue hunting the Tulkun using harpoons and specialized sea vessels. The Sully family returns to the Metkayina, where Tanawari informs Jake that the Tulkun Council has called a meeting concerning Payakan after his attack on a ship, while Ronald treats Neytiri's injuries. During the council gathering, the Tulkun matriarch orders Payakan into exile for his actions, devastating Lo-Ak. When Lo-Ak and Cyria attempt to defend Payakan, Jake intervenes and argues harshly with his son, nearly blaming him for Nedium's death due to his disobedience. Overwhelmed, Lo-Ak runs away in tears, and Jake later discusses the incident with Neytiri, who remains consumed by her hatred of humans. Distraught, Lo-Ak contemplates taking his own life with a rifle but is found in time by Kiri and Cyria, who talk him down. Later, the teenagers gather in the ocean, where Kiri begins teaching Spider how to use his newly formed Kuru to create a neural connection with Pandoran wildlife, such as skimwings underwater. Elsewhere, Quaritch and Wainfleet search for Spider by intimidating and terrorizing other Nausix. Quaritch eventually decides to confront the Manguan directly and travels to their camp to meet Varang. To demonstrate his seriousness, he orders Wainfleet to kill one of the Manguan from a distance, after which Varang allows him into her tent. She recounts her people's history, explaining how fire destroyed their homeland and led them to lose faith in Iwa when no help came. The Manguan adapted to the flames, and in turn, Quaritch teaches Varang how to use advanced weapons, including a flamethrower. And afterward, the two subsequently form an intimate relationship. Back at the sea, Cyria tells Lo-Ak that Payakan's song has been heard in nearby waters. Determined to find him, Lo-Ak decides to leave, first informing Neytiri of his plan. He sets out alongside Cyria, Aonung, and Ratso to search for the young Tulkun, and shortly afterward, Tanawari informs Jake that their children have gone missing. In the forest, Spider and Kiri are alone and share their first kiss. Shortly afterward, Quaritch arrives with the Manguan and captures Spider after Varang subdues him using her Q connection. The RDA and the Manguan then begin moving toward the Metkayina village. When Quaritch and Varang appear, Jake voluntarily surrenders to prevent harm to the other Nausix. Quaritch takes Jake and Spider back to the RDA base, where Quaritch and Varang are welcomed as heroes. Meanwhile, Lo-Ak and the other teenagers ride their skimwings in search of Payakan but are attacked by squid-like creatures. Lo-Ak is trapped underwater and nearly drowns until other Tulkun kill the creatures. Cyria and the boys pull Lo-Ak to the surface and resuscitate him. Later that night, Lo-Ak reunites with Payakan, who reveals that he has found the last surviving member of his family, another Tulkun named Tanak, who was previously attacked and blinded by Scoresby's harpoons. Scoresby is now planning another attack on a school of Tulkun, prompting Ian, a microbiologist, to openly protest and begin questioning his loyalty to the RDA. At the RDA base, Quaritch attempts to calm an enraged Spider before going to taunt Jake, who is being held in a glass cage on public display. Jake again urges Quaritch to open his mind, but Quaritch refuses, and leave. Meanwhile, Spider escapes his cell and disguises himself among the personnel, and at the same time, Neytiri infiltrates the base after killing several Manguan. She finds Varang asleep and forces her to reveal Jake's location, threatening to cut off her Kuru. A fight erupts, and Neytiri flees after detonating a tanker, causing widespread panic. Taking advantage of the chaos, Ian uses a massive bulldozer to shatter Jake's cage and free him. Spider reunites with Jake and shields him, knowing the RDA will not shoot while Spider is in the way. Jake and Spider soon join Neytiri, and the three escape together by air. After landing in a secluded part of the forest, Jake reconsiders Neytiri's earlier suggestion to kill Spider in order to end the RDA's pursuit, an idea she herself has begun to doubt. Jake leads Spider to a quiet location and prepares to kill him as Spider pleads for his life. Ultimately, Jake cannot go through with it and embraces the boy, and Neytiri then runs to them and tells Spider that she finally sees him. Back at the sea, the Metkayina continue to refuse to take up violence against the RDA until Lo-AK brings Payakan and Tanak before them, revealing the damage the humans have inflicted. Although Payakan is still regarded as an outcast, Lo-AK, his friends, and their Tulkun declare themselves outcasts as well. Jake realizes he must once again become Torek Makto. He travels to a cave to release Torek so they can fly into battle together, warning the clans that a confrontation with the Sky People is inevitable. The RDA prepare for battle, with Ardmore attempting to relieve Quaritch of command for defying her orders, but Quaritch refuses to stand down, determined to recover Spider. The conflict begins when the Tulkun attack the Whalers in retaliation, while the Nasiks engage the human forces, eliminating many of them. Suddenly, the Manguan join the fight, and as her people suffer heavy losses, Kiri dives underwater to reconnect with Iwa in hopes of intervening. When she is close to being overwhelmed, Spider and Tuck join her, connecting their cues to Iwa as well. Just as they appear to glimpse Iwa, an underwater explosion severs Kiri's connection. Elsewhere, Nasiks warriors such as Ratso are fatally wounded, and Ronal is mortally injured. Before dying, Ronal gives birth to a daughter, Prill, and entrusts her care to Neytiri. Soon after, Kiri is enveloped in a burst of light beneath the water, surrounded by sea creatures, and fully reconnected to Iwa, she commands the creatures to attack the humans. Their ships are destroyed, and Scoresby is killed by one of the creatures. At the same time, Varang attempts to kill Neytiri, but Kiri reaches her first and subdues her by linking to her Q and ordering her to flee, which Varang obeys. A magnetic flux opens in the ocean, drawing the RDA's command ship toward a vortex, and as the crew abandons the vessel, Ardmore perishes when the ship is consumed by fire. Quaritch makes one final attempt to kill Jake after taking his children hostage and forcing Jake to approach with Spider. Spider willingly offers himself, but Jake and Quaritch are pulled toward the vortex and begin to fight. Spider shoots Quaritch in the arm, but before he can strike again, they are knocked over a ledge. Quaritch clings to Spider as Jake pulls them both back up and once more tries to reason with him. When Jake's family arrives, Quaritch realizes he is outnumbered and leaps from the edge into the flames below. After the battle, Lo-AK narrates the aftermath. More Nasiks begin reconnecting with Iwa. Payakan is finally accepted by his clan. Kiri brings Spider to the Tree of Souls, where he encounters the spirits of the fallen Nasiks, including Grace. The Nasiks accept Spider as one of their own, and the movie concludes. Okay guys, that's all the recap about Avatar, Fire and Ash from 2025. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.